sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is another story that probably most people have not heard. And it's one where the Prophet ﷺ actually invokes a curse, or seemingly invokes a curse in a very serious situation. And it involves Ayesha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Ayesha radiallahu ta'ala anha says that after one of the battles, the Prophet ﷺ had one of the prisoners and he brought the prisoner home. And the Prophet ﷺ told me to watch that prisoner. And he said, be careful and don't lose sight of him. So this is very serious, right? This is post-battle. And you have the prisoners of war. People are very dangerous. It's in a war time. And Ayesha radiallahu anha has been told, don't lose sight of this prisoner. The Prophet ﷺ leaves. Ayesha radiallahu ta'ala anha says, some of my friends came over. And we started to talk. And as we were socializing, she said that I completely forgot about the prisoner. By the time I went back to the other room, and it's not a big house, he was gone. So the Prophet ﷺ comes back and he looks in the room, and the Prophet ﷺ notices that the prisoner is gone. He says, Aisha, what happened? She said, Ya Rasulullah, my friends came over and I lost sight of him, and so I couldn't hold on to him. The Prophet ﷺ says, Qata Allahu yadak. May Allah cut off your hand. And that was an expression, once again. And the Prophet ﷺ immediately leaves out of the house, going to look for the prisoner. Now this is a serious situation, right? This is a man that's on the loose that literally was just in battle with the Muslims and could do something. Now Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she's at home and she just heard the Prophet ﷺ say, may Allah cut off your hand. And again, even though it's an expression, she knows her husband, she has witnessed his miracles sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so she is in complete fright that something bad is going to happen to her. So the Prophet ﷺ, he comes home and he sees Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha in the living room, and she's looking at her hands. And she's turning her hands over and she's watching them. And as tuqallibu yadayha, the narration says she's looking at her hands and she's watching them, turning them over. The Prophet ﷺ says, what are you doing, Ya Aisha? She said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm looking at my hands to see which one of them is going to fall off, because of your dua against me when you said, Qata Allahu yadak. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Aisha, don't you know that if I say something like that to someone in my ummah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it a source of purification for them. You don't have to worry about one of your hands falling off. And the Prophet ﷺ actually made dua. He said, Allahumma fa'ayyuma mu'minin sababtuhu faj'al dhalika lahu qurbatan ilayka yawm al-qiyamah. He said, oh Allah, if there is any mu'min, any believer that I curse in the midst of anger or in the midst of an expression, فَجْعَلْ ذَلِكَ لَهُ قُرْبَةً إِلَيْكَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Make that a means of them coming close to you on the day of judgment. So even in the Prophet ﷺ's anger with you, if he used one of those expressions, even that was a mercy from the Prophet ﷺ.